Today, we're going to talk about a truth that few have the courage to say out loud. The calling, when misunderstood, can become such a heavy burden that it slowly kills the chosen ones from the inside. Not all at once, but gradually, in silence. I remember a conversation I had with someone who carried a powerful ministry, admired by many. He said to me, "You know what no one sees? That I pray for others, but no one prays for me. That I carry the pain of many, but I no longer know how to deal with my own. It feels like being chosen stripped me of my humanity." And that made me think, is the calling killing the chosen ones? It's not the purpose itself, it's the weight of trying to carry it alone. Because being chosen isn't just about gifts, visions, and spiritual authority. Being chosen is about resistance. Resisting the exhaustion that comes without warning. Resisting the pressure to always look strong. Resisting the loneliness of hearing God's voice, but having no one to share the burden with. That's why so many are burned out, emotionally drained, anxious, confused. The anointing is there, but the soul is crying out for help. What kills the chosen ones is not the mission. It's the lack of emotional, spiritual, and even physical structure to carry it. I need you to understand something. You are not weak because you're tired. You are not less chosen because you feel pain. And you were not called to be crushed to death by your own purpose. Stay with me until the end of this video, because today we're going to expose this silent trap and begin a path of healing for those who were set apart by God, but are wounded by the weight of the calling. If this message is already speaking to your heart in any way, do this. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and comment below with the phrase, "I'm still holding on." That way, I'll know you're walking this journey with me and that the burden hasn't defeated you. There are moments when you're in a room full of people, but you feel completely invisible. The conversation is happening, the laughter echoes, but none of it reaches you. Inside, it's like something has disconnected. You're there, but you're not. This is silent isolation, and yes, this can kill the chosen ones. I'm not talking about that healthy time of silence, of introspection, when you pull away for a while to think and reconnect with what matters. I'm talking about the kind of isolation that many chosen ones carry a heavy burden in silence. They smile outwardly, but slowly fade inside, isolating themselves without realizing it. What begins as a necessary retreat becomes emotional exile. Thoughts of being unseen and unsupported creep in, and silence turns into inner screams. The real danger isn't the calling, it's the weight of trying to handle everything alone. Many believe expressing pain or vulnerability is weakness, but it's not. Even the chosen need connection, healing, and someone to listen. Silent suffering leads to emotional exhaustion, and comparison only adds to it. Scrolling through social media, seeing others seemingly ahead, can make the chosen question their worth. But those with unique callings cannot be measured by common standards. Comparison drains confidence and peace. The message is clear. You weren't called to suffer alone. You were called to live, to connect, and to endure with grace. Many chosen ones fall into the trap of comparison. They begin to feel constantly behind, as if they're never enough. This mindset makes them forget how far they've come and blinds them to the beauty of their own journey. Frustration turns into exhaustion, and eventually the inner fire fades. You weren't called to compete, you were called to fulfill a unique purpose, and fulfilling often happens in silence without applause. Your mission doesn't depend on others' pace. Not everything that shines is guidance. Sometimes it's distraction. As time passes, discernment becomes harder. More voices, more opportunities, but less clarity. Rushing replaces peace, and pressure replaces intuition. Many start making choices out of fear instead of alignment. They follow advice from those who've never walked their path and accept anything that looks like progress, even when it costs their peace and purpose. Discernment is what protects the chosen. Without it, even good things can lead them astray. Burnout doesn't strike suddenly, it wears down the chosen slowly. You begin to carry responsibilities, partnerships and paths that don't belong to you, trying to fit into spaces where you were never meant to be. Eventually, you realize this isn't your calling. When everything pulls at you, it's time to stop and listen to your inner voice, the one that knows your path. You weren't chosen to please everyone, but to fulfill a purpose. And fulfilling it requires clarity, courage to say no, and discernment. Many chosen ones fall into constant busyness, helping, solving, producing, until their hearts are empty, even if their schedules are full. The danger is trading communion for performance, mistaking movement for purpose. The world will applaud your hustle, but your soul will quietly ask, "Where am I in all of this?" The truth is, doing more isn't always living your calling. Without inner connection, even good service can drain you. You keep filling your schedule, not because you lack love, but because you haven't learned how to say no. But you weren't called to live in a constant state of exhaustion. You weren't set apart to give yourself to the world and abandon yourself in the process. Even good things, when they exceed balance, can cause harm. So pause. Breathe, reorganize, learn to be still, learn to say, "Today I need to take care of myself," because your mission is important, but you are more important. And an exhausted soul cannot sustain any purpose. A chosen one who only serves but never feeds themselves will grow weak, and when strength runs out, eventually they break. At first, your heart was pure. You just wanted to serve, you just wanted to obey, you wanted to make a difference. But as time passed, without realizing it, you started to feel more capable than others. You started to talk more about yourself than the mission. You began to see yourself as more prepared, more mature, more used by God. And that's when pride entered. Not shouting, but whispering, "You're too special to fail." This part is delicate because it doesn't speak of weakness. It speaks of the moment when your gift becomes a risk, when recognition becomes a trap, when the chosen one begins to forget who chose them. You know what can kill the chosen ones? Spiritual pride, not the kind that's loud and obvious, but the subtle pride that hides behind good intentions, the kind that makes you feel like you already know it all. Like you no longer need guidance, like you've reached a level where you can act, speak, and decide without being accountable to anyone. And that's when the heart starts drifting from its essence. You still talk about purpose, you still mention God, you still move as you used to. But something is missing: humility, dependence, the awareness that everything you carry is not yours, it's borrowed, it's grace, it's mission. And no mission exists to exalt the messenger. It exists to fulfill something greater. Spiritual pride doesn't show up all at once. It grows in the details, in how you respond to correction, in how hard it is to admit when you're wrong. What's most frightening is that on the outside, everything may still look like it's working. You still have a voice, you still have influence, you still have visibility, but inside, the heart has hardened. Sensitivity is gone, simplicity has faded, and the presence has diminished. That's why many chosen ones, even while appearing active, are stuck on the inside. This part of the journey requires constant vigilance, because the more you grow, the smaller you must remain within. The more people look at you, the more you need to remember it's not about you. Don't forget where you came from, who called you, and how it all began. And if today you realize that somehow pride has crept in, don't blame yourself, but don't ignore it either. Healing begins with awareness, with the decision to return, to lower your defenses, to reconnect with your essence. Because the chosen one who forgets who chose them can end up lost within their own greatness. At first, the flame burned brightly inside you. Every step felt full of meaning, every challenge an opportunity. But over time, that inner light began to flicker. It's not a fire that goes out suddenly. It's a slow, almost imperceptible discouragement. that sneaks in quietly and drains the strength you didn't even know you had. Invisible discouragement is one of the greatest enemies of the chosen. It makes no noise, gives no clear signs, doesn't scream for help. It settles in the soul, silent, sneaky. It's when you start feeling the burden is too heavy, the effort no longer worth it, the mission just a distant dream, impossible to reach. You begin avoiding your own thoughts, procrastinating tasks that once ignited your passion, seeking distractions that numb your mind. And the mind, this powerful ally, turns into your enemy, creating a cycle of doubt and fear. Invisible discouragement kills because it extinguishes hope. Without hope, the strength to continue disappears. Without strength, you start to retreat, and as you retreat, the voice of the calling seems further and further away. This is when the chosen one faces a great risk, the risk of giving up. Not dramatically, but quietly, without warning, without fanfare. The worst part is, no one sees what's happening inside. You seem to be there doing what you must. But inside, you are empty. The good news is, invisible discouragement can be faced, not with brute force, but with care and self-love, with intentional pauses, honest conversations, and help. Recognizing discouragement is the first step to winning this battle. Because being chosen doesn't mean you're immune to emotional fatigue. It means you have the courage to rise, even when everything feels gray. Self-care is not selfishness, it is survival. It is a profound act of respect for the precious life you have been given. It is the deepest form of love for yourself that allows you to continue walking your path with strength and grace. So, if today you feel the heavy weight of exhaustion pressing down on you, listen carefully to your body. Grant yourself the permission to pause, to nurture your spirit, and to restore your strength. Allow yourself moments to laugh freely, to dream boldly, and simply to be present with yourself. Because a chosen one who is tired, broken, and depleted serves no one, but a chosen one who is whole, who cares for and loves themselves deeply, is the one capable of truly transforming the world. Remember this truth. Your mission begins when you are well with yourself. When you were chosen, your light shone clear and bright, radiant with purpose. Yet, along the journey, you may find yourself surrounded by those who do not understand your mission. People who unintentionally drain your energy, plant seeds of doubt, and gradually weaken the foundation of your purpose. Negative influence is like a slow, creeping poison. At first, it may feel harmless, perhaps even comforting, a casual conversation here, a seemingly innocent piece of advice there. But step by step, this toxic environment consumes your inner strength. You begin to doubt yourself, question your choices, and feel as though everything might be impossible. And the worst part, without realizing it, you start to mirror the very patterns that brought you down, spreading doubt, fear, and exhaustion to those around you. Do you know what can truly kill the chosen? It is allowing the wrong influences to take root within your circle, because even the strongest fall when surrounded by the wrong company. But here is the hope. You have the power to choose your company. You can seek out those who uplift you, who inspire you, and who strengthen your spirit. You can cultivate an environment where your light has room not just to shine, but to grow and flourish. Choose your battles wisely, but choose your people even more carefully. You were never meant to fight alone, much less to battle in the shadows. From a young age, you may have learned that strength means hiding your vulnerabilities, that admitting pain or fear is a sign of weakness. But for the chosen, denying vulnerability is a dangerous trap. Ignoring your fear, sadness, insecurity, or fatigue does not make them disappear. Instead, they accumulate silently, like a ticking time bomb nestled deep within your chest. When you pretend all is well, even when it's not, you create distance between yourself and your true being. Push away those who could support you and lock yourself into an invisible prison of isolation. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is the courageous bridge to healing. It is the bold declaration that despite everything, you are willing to continue walking forward.